Hello once again, wrestling fans, and welcome to Off the Top Rope Radio, heard worldwide on KQCK radio stations. I'm your host, Brian Shank, and in the next hour, we'll discuss all that is professional wrestling. You'll hear the latest news, informative interviews with the biggest stars in the business, and maybe even a few surprises along the way. It all starts right now on KQCK radio stations, USA and Costa Rica. And here we are once again, back in the driver's seat on good old KQCK.com, the greatest radio station I know of, playing all the great hits, all the great music. You can listen and win. You can hear some great talk shows like this one. This is Off the Top Rope Radio, and we are here live once again for Thursday, April 17th, the year 2014, and we appreciate you tuning in to Off the Top Rope Radio. We're going to do some professional wrestling talk. We're heard exclusively worldwide on KQCK.com. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the program. My name is Brian Shank. I'm the host of the fine program known as Off the Top Rope Radio, and we're ready to have a fantastic show, and we are glad that you could be a part of it here on this Thursday night. A lot of things going on here in the wrestling world. We're going to discuss many things, and one thing that I'm looking very forward to is being to speak to my good friend, Shane Douglas, the franchise Shane Douglas, coming up here in about 10 minutes or so. We're going to get him on first. We usually do the news and all the reports and stuff like that first. But Shane has some very important things going on later on tonight for his awesome movie, Wrestlers vs. Zombies. We're going to talk about that. And also, he was a very good, close personal friend of the Ultimate Warrior back in the day. Shane worked for the World Wrestling Federation back in the time, as it was known, in 1990 and 91, and later on as the Dean Douglas. But the days that the Ultimate Warrior was there was 90-91, so we're going to talk about that. He always had some good things to say to the Warrior and vice versa, and he said he has some really cool, interesting stories to discuss about the Warrior in general, and I can't wait to hear about those. He was about to tell me one on the telephone today. I'm like, wait, Shane. Don't tell me the story now. I want to definitely be genuinely, that is, tickled to hear your story about the Ultimate Warrior. I want to have a real good live reaction, and so he saved it for tonight. And I'm fascinated that he has some good stories about the Warrior, because he says, there's been some people who said they weren't very close to the Warrior. They said he was standoffish. They said he was kind of to himself and quiet and everything else. He says, but I actually liked the guy. And he was always courteous and kind and considerate to me, and always had some good words. So I'm excited to hear that from Shane Douglas, and I'm glad that we can talk about the Ultimate Warrior, and we're going to discuss his movie, Wrestlers vs. Zombies, and maybe talk a bit about his career, of course, but there's so much for him to talk about. I mean, he's been successful inside the ring, and I can't wait to discuss a lot of things with Shane Douglas, the franchise. That's coming up here in just a few minutes or so, about 10 after the hour. Don't forget, we have a new start time here every Thursday now on KQCK.com. You can watch us live. You can listen to us live. If you're just hearing the show right now and you have a way to watch it on your computer screen, just tune it in. Just click on Watch Now or Watch Live or whatever it says up there, and you can definitely check us out here in the studios. You can see JoJo, one of the producers, walking by here and wearing all black. What, are you going to a Johnny Cash concert or something like that? What's going on with you?
No, I just got back from the meeting.
Just got back from the meeting, so he's going to look. What are you looking for, man?
Oh, the screen.
Yeah, how come I can't get the screen up there? Make it big. Is it working all right, though? It's broadcasting okay like this? Yeah, I just can't get it up there. Okay. He's going to go ahead and make this happen for us. JoJo, the producer, he's going to do one little quick. See, this is what I like about live radio, is that you never know who's going to walk in here. And when it's JoJo, the man, oh, there you go, the man dressed in black. Yeah, show me how you did that, man. Oh, do me a favor, JoJo, if you could, pick up the Ultimate Warrior kindly. Don't pick him up by his head, please. He's no longer with us. And can you see him there in the chair, or should we put him up here by the microphone there? Let's put him right there by the mic. There you go. Stand him up nice and proud there. Rest in peace, Mr. Ultimate Warrior. Passed away here last week, and the WWE has been having a really nice dedication this week to the Ultimate Warrior, and I think it's just fitting for him to have such a good thing. And if you have any kind of comments about the Warrior, any kind of stories or remembrances, our email is right up there on the screen, Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. If he falls a little bit, that's okay. That's good. Warrior's got a look at that. He's got a ringside seat. Thank you, JoJo. That's the producer extraordinary right there walking out of the the room here. But there's the Ultimate Warrior. He's got a great seat right there. But again, Brian, Brian, at KQCKradio.com. You can send us an email at any time during the show. We'll definitely get those and read them. So if you want to do that, any questions you may have for Shane while we're doing the interview or before or whatever, any questions you have for me or whatever else. And we have a very special guest taking the place of my buddy Dougie Fresh today is Frank Manzo from WrestleReaction.net. WrestleReaction.net, a very fine website out there, just like WrestlingRumors.net. He's going to be joining me at about 5:35 or so after the interview with Shane. We'll talk about all the latest stuff going on in the world of wrestling today. And if, like I said, if you want to send an email at any time during the show, Brian, Brian, at KQCKradio.com. We'll definitely get those on the air for you as we go. But, going back to some things here with Raw, very good show. They dedicated this whole week to the Ultimate Warrior who left us last week. And we do have the confirmed reports from the autopsy this week that Ultimate Warrior did pass away due to a massive heart attack. He did have heart disease for, I don't know for how long, but obviously it was something that was generating in his body for quite a long time. And going back last week to Nancy Grace, I know a lot of wrestling fans were outraged by what she had to say about drugs and everything else that was contributing to that. I'm not going to speculate anymore about what brought on the heart disease. There's been people on the internet, fans, journalists, former wrestlers, current wrestlers, who had their say about what they thought it was. I'm going to leave it alone. I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence or hurt anybody's feelings or anybody's family, because to me, that's not to judge. There's only one person that judges, and he's up there, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about the guy taking care of the leaky roof here at the KQCK studios. But regardless, I want to leave it like it is. We know the reports. It's been confirmed. It's out there. He died of a massive heart attack at the age of 54. Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior. So we're going to dedicate the whole month here. We got one more show this month in April, and we're going to be talking next week to my good buddy Barry Darso, who you may remember as Crusher Khrushchev, Chip Fairway, Blacktop Bully, that is, the Blacktop Bully, the Brooklyn Brawler, and Demolition Smash. Had a great run as a tag team champion with Demolition Axe, and he'll be on next week here on Off the Top Rope Radio. But like I said, this week we'll be talking to Shane Douglas here in a few minutes. But again, my hats are off, if I wore one right now, to the WWE for doing a fine job by showing a lot of tidbits, a lot of vignettes of the Ultimate Warrior's career. I know this week on the network, they showed WrestleMania 6, his match against Hulk Hogan when he won the Heavyweight Championship. First man to ever hold the IC Championship and the Heavyweight Championship at one time. He did forfeit the IC Championship, of course, due to him holding the Heavyweight title, and had a good run for a year, almost a year. He lost it in 1991 at the Royal Rumble to Sergeant Slaughter, which back then Sergeant Slaughter was a heel. And then we all know that come WrestleMania 7, we saw Hulk Hogan come back once again, defeat Sergeant Slaughter, and become the champion. But Warrior had a great run as a heavyweight champion. He had some good matches with Rick Rude. He really held the championship in fine fashion. I mean, he was always out there, every pay-per-view, every house show, every televised event. He was a great champion for the time he was there. And being the IC champion at one point as well, I think he held it at least twice, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was only one time. I know he beat the Honky Tonk Man. I think it was just one time. But regardless, a great career for the Ultimate Warrior. We're saddened by his loss of life here, and I know we're celebrating that each and every day here in this month of April, due to the reason that, it's one of those things where I sat back the other day and just started to realize that, a lot of my heroes are leaving, and it's kind of scary and kind of sad in a lot of ways because, these are the people you grew up watching. And these are the people that you remember, turning on the TV on Saturday mornings. And they're the ones that you will always remember and hold deep in your heart and want to always remember as they were inside the wrestling ring, cutting the promos, doing the interviews, having the matches, the excitement galore on a Saturday morning or a Saturday night's main event. I mean, God, I remember those so well, just waiting for 10:30 Central to roll around in the Chicagoland area where I was born and raised and just say, come on, baby, an hour and a half, and have Don Pardo say, Saturday night's main event will not be shown tonight, or Saturday Night Live will not be shown tonight due to a special edition of Saturday night's main event. And then, boom, it went right into that music, and you had the promos going, 6-7 promos in a row, and then the Animotion playing You Are My Obsession, and wow, great memories, man. I really enjoyed that. So we're going to be coming back in a moment or two. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be speaking with the franchise Shane Douglas, one of my good buddies. So stick around. Do not go away.
When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is dedicated to providing you and your family with services that will make you smile. With a full range of general, cosmetic, and specialty dentistry services that will keep you and your family smiling. Our commitment to our community is to provide outstanding oral health. Hill Family Dentistry is located on 36359 Ganzel Road in Santan Valley, diagonally across from Banner Ironwood Hospital. Evening and weekend appointments available. We accept most insurances and have in-office policies available for non-insured. Contact us today at 480-588-8127. Hill Family Dentistry.
AZ Computer Geeks is your local hometown go-to computer company, focusing on providing comprehensive computer repair services for PC and Mac computers, desktops, and laptops. Working with individuals and businesses small and large with over 20 years of hands-on experience, AZ Computer Geeks technicians have many certifications and love what they do. Believing in 100% customer-satisfied service, you will get free diagnosis and professional quality individualized services for your needs. Growing on referrals, AZ Computer Geeks loves your feedback. Refurbished desktops and laptops available for sale. Also building custom systems to your specifications. Check out azcomputergeeks.com or call 480-729-8899.
All right, we're back here at Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank hanging with you here for about another, 40 minutes or so, maybe 48. We're going to stretch, we're going to do 48 more minutes. We're going to go until 6 o'clock at least tonight. And I'm excited to have on the phone with me a good buddy of mine, someone who I enjoy speaking with because the way that he does everything in professional wrestling and some of the things that he's been able to accomplish and just some of the stories he's talked about has just been fascinating. I spent a pretty good amount of time with him in New Orleans at the Mid-South Legends reunion there in Chalmette, Louisiana. It was a fantastic time. We had a lot of good talks, a lot of good laughs, and some of the people there were quite interesting. We had a couple good laughs here and there, but regardless, he was fun to talk with. He's a good friend of mine, and we're going to put him on the air right now. He is known, of course, as the Franchise, Shane Douglas. What's going on, Shane?
Oh, same old here, Brian. What's going on with you today, man?
Oh,
good to be here.
It's good to have you on the air here, and I'll tell you what, let me look at my phone right now because I'm going to tell you how good I am. I'm going to look at the weather right now, and it says right here that it is 88 degrees and sunny in the beautiful East Valley of Arizona. Yeah, I gotta love it.
Perfect, a little bit better. We had a beautiful day here in Pittsburgh, but a little bit better than we had.
Yeah, just a little bit, not by much. But, I'll tell you what, Shane, it's good to have you on the phone, man. I know we did an interview like 3-4 years ago. It was a long time ago, and we reconnected there at the Mid-South Legends reunion. It was good to see your face. It was good to talk to you a little bit about some things. And, hell, me and you sat there and talked for an hour at a time and different times about just all kinds of things, and it was kind of just cool to reconnect. And, you're doing well in what you're doing, and you got a lot of projects going on, and you were telling me a lot about your family today on the phone, and, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Ultimate Warrior passing and some of your memories. So let's start from the beginning here. Let's talk a little bit about the new project you have going on right now, Wrestlers vs. Zombies. You showed the premiere at the Mid-South Legends reunion on the big screen there in Chalmette, Louisiana, the weekend of WrestleMania 30, and there was some really cool reaction. The people around me were going like, wow, this looks like an awesome movie. It's not like what they kind of expected, and, the thing is, zombies are cool right now, man. The kids love it. My wife loves zombies. This is awesome. Tell me a little bit, first of all, how you got the project started, and second of all, how did it all come about with some of the people you've been working with on this?
Yeah, it was, for me, it was like going back in time because when I was a kid breaking into the business in the UWF, the Post, Mid-South, same company.
Yeah.
I was working with guys like Hacksaw and Roddy Piper and had been throughout the early part of my career watching them, learning from them, and befriending them. So to be back on a movie set with those same guys, like a time warp, going back 30 plus years, that, feeling that same kind of a set between us that, I'm still learning from those guys, in this case, movie making. Mm-hmm. And the movie came around, but it's really a strange story. You hear the cliche, what a small world it is. I was in Pittsburgh several years ago, about 4 years ago, I believe it was, and a gentleman by the name of Cody Knotts came up to me and told me that he had a movie project that he was working on, and wanted me to get a draft for him, or get a draft for me. And honestly, Brian, I've heard that so many times. Wrestlers hear this all the time in our careers, so you take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
And 6 months later, he contacted me again and said that he had the first draft he wanted to get out to me. And when I read it, the way the movie is always read, as I read through the script initially in the drafts, and now especially watching the movie, to me it reminds me of something like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's hilarious, and we make fun. There's a lot of inside jokes in which we make fun of ourselves, making fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
And sitting and watching the fans is just a ton of fun because, first of all, it's giving the fans that look, to a different aspect than they expect to see Roddy Piper or Shane Douglas in. And to watch the fans' face how much they enjoy it because, first of all, they're the inside joke the non-wrestling fan wouldn't get. And to me, it was always, I looked at the movie like it's paying an homage to those early careers of all the guys that are in it. And there's some big names, Roddy Piper, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Kurt Angle, Matt Hardy, Rebby Sky, myself, and a bunch of really great local wrestlers. So it was really a labor of love once we got started on it. A very fascinating process.
Cool. Now, you're doing a lot of pre-screenings and a lot of things out there, like some premieres and whatnot. And in case you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking to the franchise Shane Douglas right here on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank, and we enjoy that you're here, and we thank you, everybody, for listening. You're doing a lot of stuff out there where you're promoting it, you're going out there. It's kind of like an old school thing, like, the premieres, and you got to come out here, you got to talk and meet the fans and sign some autographs and take pictures and everything else. And to me, that's kind of cool, man, because it's like, hey, here's something I got. It's not going to get the big recognition like if you were in the WWE, for instance, or even TNA, because it's not a worldwide thing, but you're going out there, and it's like the old, putting the flyers up for the wrestling shows that used to be in back in the day, and hey, we got an independent show or something like that. This is cool, and you got a lot going on. I mean, I think the last couple weeks after WrestleMania and WrestleCon, you've been going full bore, and you've even got something later on this evening to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, it's a lot of fun. It's been years since I've been on the road for 12, 14 days at a time.
Yeah.
And again, back out there doing it. But when you're on the road with a guy like Jim Duggan, who he and I are the two that are most commonly at the screenings together.
Yeah.
Jim's just like, he probably wouldn't let you stand this, but he's like a great big teddy bear. Everybody loves Hacksaw, and he's just a lot of fun to be around. So it's a labor of love to that extent.
Let's give Hacksaw a big ho right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ho! All right. No, you're right. You're right about that because Jim was sitting right across from you at the Mid-South Wrestle reunion, and that was cool to see because all these guys in this building when you walked in, it was just kind of like meeting an old friend. Like I said, when I came out to you, I introduced myself again after so many years, and you're like, yeah, I remember vaguely, doing the show. I've done so many of them, but you and I sat down, we talked a lot about wrestling and a lot about personal issues, about our families and about what we do, and you told me some of the schedules you used to keep back in the day, and you said, Brian, back in the day, I was on a plane here, drive 4 hours here, get about an hour of sleep, go do this, get to the building, get dressed, do a meet and greet. And now with this movie thing, you said, I'm kind of doing it all over again. It's like being back on the road in one of the major companies. And it's kind of cool because you even told me on the phone earlier today, you'd rather be booked solid and be going 150 miles an hour than sitting there twiddling your thumbs and picking your nose. I mean, that's a good feeling.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got so many other projects that we're working on that I'm glad that we have the time to devote to promoting the movie because I found out along this process making movies is very expensive and time-consuming endeavor. Post-producing a movie is very expensive and time-consuming, but promoting it is more expensive and more time-consuming. So, like this thing keeps like a recurring cycle. We get real busy and then we're off and real busy. But now we're actually busy on getting the movie out to the fans, and that's really rewarding. Oh, yeah.
And then think about it, like anybody would say, without the wrestling fans, it's not going to do any good to do anything because without their support, I mean, it's really not even worth making a movie or putting on a wrestling show or whatever else. And I'll tell you what, there was some really good interest in this movie. I did not attend WrestleCon, but you said it was a very cool and a very exciting experience for you because there was so many fans out there who are legitimately excited about seeing something of a different fashion than just, the professional wrestlers doing their thing, which is cool, too, to have a nice array of professional wrestling on tapes and DVDs. But for them to see something like this where they're kind of going a little bit maybe out of their element, maybe not so much Roddy Piper because he's made a lot of movies, but everything else. But it's kind of cool to see this, and I'm excited to see it. And I guess I'll have to wait to maybe catch it somewhere out here or whatever else, or I'll have to, buy a copy from you. But I definitely want to see this movie. It looked cool from those previews you had, and just it was very nicely done too. It's a good production.
Well, we had a guy by the name of Joe Ruscio who really is very good at what he does. He's going to be a name that down the road you're going to be seeing working, I'm sure, on big budget movies. He's that good. It's the look of the movie is much more credited to him, I think, than what we shot. Although that was was contributory, but to take that raw footage and then pound it together into the like an amalgamation of scenes and putting this thing together, I was impressed after watching the first time in the finished product because he did such a damn good job.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm actually looking at the title right here, Wrestlers versus Zombies. On IMDb, International Movie Database here, it got 4 stars out of 5. I mean, that I don't know if you knew that or not, but that's pretty cool.
Well, I've been amazed the whole time through this because much like I did in ECW, the funny thing or the sad outcome, whichever way you look at it, of ECW, those of us in ECW that were fortunate enough to be part of that team, we knew we had a very loyal fan base, but we thought it was a very finite fan base. And after the closure of the company, we come to find out that it was much larger than any of us had even anticipated. And I think the same thing's holding true here. We're getting some really good reviews back on it. And I think that's a reflection, again, not that, we were so good on screen, but I think it's a reflection back to the fans wanting to see that bygone day of wrestling. And, like I said, paying an homage to Roddy Piper and these guys' career. And the inside joke, wrestling, wrestling fans, the most loyal group, wonderful group of people in the world.
Hell yeah.
They get it.
Oh, yeah. And I want to read a little bit here, and in case you're joining us again, ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking to Shane Douglas. As you can see, the big picture there up on the screen. If you're looking there, you're behind a bunch of bricks behind you. There's some kind of brick building behind you. I found this picture on the internet. My buddy Dougie Fresh put this together for us, but it's cool. You'll see it later on in the show when you get a chance to watch it. But it says here the storyline behind Wrestlers versus Zombies. It says here, the franchise Shane Douglas accidentally kills a wrestler in the ring. The wrestler's brother Angus seeks revenge by surrendering his soul to an ancient demon to gain the power to raise the undead. Angus then pays for a private show to an empty prison to lure Douglas and his friend Roddy Piper into a death trap. Is that a pretty good synopsis? That is.
I didn't summarize it to a T, but I'll just say this, I've killed a lot of towns in wrestling, but I've never killed another wrestler until a movie. And, you go out and you kill one guy and you start the apocalypse. What the hell's up with that?
Well, I was trying to say synopsis, by the way. That's a hard word to say, synopsis. But anyway, that's funny. I mean, and like I said, there's been some really good reviews on this. It was released here on March 28th, and it went right to DVD, but this is cool, too. It also says here there's been, I didn't know this, but it said here that Thomas Rodman's part, which he's in the movie, I'm trying to look at his character here, but Thomas Rodman, his part, from what this says here, was actually written for Dennis Rodman. Is that true?
I believe so, yeah. Cody Knotts, the writer and director of the movie, had approached several people that were originally either attached and couldn't do it because of scheduling, like Terry Funk. Terry Funk we had signed on as fight coordinator, but because of surgeries he had on his knees, was unable to. I know that he had reached out and negotiated a deal with Rodman, and then because the timing schedule of the shoot actually moved, that Rodman was unavailable, is the way I understood it at the time.
Okay, that's cool. And then it says here one more thing, too. Roddy Piper's role was originally written for Mick Foley.
Yes, Mick Foley, Cody Knotts, first and foremost, before being a writer, is a wrestling fan. He grew up being a fan, especially of that generation.
Nice guy.
So he had literally scores of people that he wanted involved with it, and either, like I said, because of scheduling or some other kind of conflict, couldn't do it. But the interesting thing is, we were supposed to make the announcement in New Orleans. He is currently writing a second script for a sequel, and wants to have another run of a brand new slate of wrestlers. So it's going to be another second round of fun all over again.
Cool. What I like about this too is that it says, it gives you all the running time and the director and whatnot. Like you said, Cody Knotts, no relation to Don Knotts, by the way, I was told. But
Right.
It says here the genres of this movie include comedy, thriller, adventure, film, horror, and action. I mean, how can you? Is
a little bit of everything.
there any love scenes in this? I mean, they could have probably put one of those on there too.
I'm sure there's a few places you probably could, make that argument. It's when I watched the movie, Brian, as many times as I've watched it, what I take away from with the movie after watching it that many times,
yeah,
is it reminds me very much in the mode of like a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wow, that's cool.
We want the fans to interact and yell things out that come to mind, and it's much more enjoyable experience when they do that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Now, if you want to buy this show here, I understand there is a website, ProWrestlersVersusZombies.com. Is that correct?
That's correct, and also a Facebook page, Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies, on Facebook, and you can purchase it either place through there.
Yep.
And later this year, I think 4 or 5 months from now, I'm not exactly sure about the date, Troma has the rights to North American distribution. They're going to have a second version of the movie coming out that has about 10, 12 extra minutes in it, and much more adult-oriented.
Very cool.
It's going to be compendium to the director's cut.
Well, you know what I got to do? I got to get a copy of this. Can I get one directly from you? I'll set this up with you later this week because I'd like to get one directly from you and watch this.
Yeah, I'll call the office and have them send it out to you. We'll get your address after, and we'll have them send one out to you to review.
Oh, I'd be happy to pay for it. I don't want anything for free.
No, that's okay. We appreciate the coverage. What I'm really finding out, Brian, is it's a completely new beast to me, being movies as opposed to wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been working our tails off, 60, 70, 80 hours a week doing these types of interviews, face-to-face interviews, the conventions, independent wrestling shows.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this for months on end. Everybody involved with it has been doing it to some degree. And yet you're still going places, and people will say, wrestling fans will come up and see, and they'll say, Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. What's that? It makes you feel so insignificant that you haven't been doing anything. But
yeah.
So it's shows like yours that are really helping us turn that out to the fans and get the fans back involved with it.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I'd be happy to throw some money down, but if you want to make it a little gift to us here at Off the Top Rope Radio, we definitely appreciate that. I say, as soon as I get it, I'm popping it in. I'm watching this sucker because, like I'm telling you, when it went up on the big screen there at the Chalmette, Louisiana facility there, I was like, this looks cool as hell, man. I'm going to check this out. And if you guys are out there on YouTube, there's always these trailers out there, 2-3 minute trailers. So you can go out there and look on YouTube. Just type in Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. You can see some, there's one up there with Matt Hardy. It looks like he's scared shitless. And there's another one up there of, I think there's Roddy Piper. There's a fight with him up there. And there's some other, let's see, the Prytania Theater is one of the 2 local theaters that'll play a host of fan meet and greets. So there's all kinds of cool stuff out there. Just go to YouTube and type it in, Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. Go to ProWrestlersVersusZombies.com. Get your copy there. And like Shane said a moment ago, go on Facebook. Look up that up there as well. Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies Facebook page. You can get this, enjoy it, like it, love it, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today, as one of the people once said. Not one of your favorite guys, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. Let's because I definitely wanted to promote that movie. I think that's so cool, and I think you guys had a great time doing that. But let's move on a little bit here because I know we got about 7 or 8 more minutes here before I know you have to attend another premiere tonight for this awesome movie.
Yeah.
And another day we'll have you on again. We can talk more about your career and stuff like that and get some funny stories. But we are celebrating the life and unfortunately the death of the Ultimate Warrior here. But I like to call it the life of the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig. I know that you were in the World Wrestling Federation, as they called it back in the day, from 1991 and came back around 95 as Dean Douglas. But let's focus on those early days of 1991. You knew the Warrior. You said you didn't talk to him a lot in the day, but you said some good stuff over the phone with me today, and I just want to kind of let all the wrestling fans hear your side and your story about what the Ultimate Warrior was to you and some of the relationships. And you were going to tell me a funny story on the phone. I said, wait, I want to hear it on the air so I get a good live real reaction. So please take it away, Shane, about the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, look, I was as shocked, or probably more shocked than most people, when we got that word early Monday, early Tuesday, I believe it was, that what had happened. Jim was a lot of guys in the business have very strong feelings about Jim because Jim A was in a really top spot, and he'd be the first to tell you he wasn't the greatest wrestler in the world, but boy did he connect with the fans. And there are a lot of guys that I think were either jealous of that, but Jim also brought a lot of that on himself because of the way he carried himself.
Sure.
He, at first glance, and if you didn't pay close attention, you would think he was being, ignorant to you, like not paying attention or, always going off on his own, stick to himself. And, I've heard guys since he died saying, hey, terrible what happened. He had 2 daughters, but I didn't really like him. He's hard to get to know. And those were all true, except I always had a different take on it. I never took it as he was being disrespectful or ignoring me.
Mm-hmm.
I always took it like he felt a little bit inferior to guys like Jake the Snake Roberts and Roddy Piper, guys that were really established workers.
Sure.
And I think he knew very well that he wasn't on that same level. And I think because of that, he tended to pull himself to the side. At least that was my take. I'm not saying that's what it was. That's the way I always took it.
Sure.
And Jim was always very respectful around me and polite. Like I said earlier, not that we had a million hours of sitting and talking to one another, but, he was, very few people have ever sent him to a spot bed. And so none of us really, me included, are equipped to talk in the first person about that. It's a very time-consuming. Anytime you carry a belt, it's very time-consuming and very intensive as far as your responsibilities. So until you have walked in the old saying goes, don't judge a man until you walk a mile in his shoes, and very few people have walked in those shoes. So, I'm going to tend to keep my thinking the way I've had it all along. My condolences go out to his family and his friends and certainly his 2 daughters. But the one time we were in a bar, and this is the story I started telling you earlier when you said you wanted to wait here with the fans.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
We were in a bar in Cleveland, I believe it was.
Hello,
Cleveland. Maybe wrong, but it was a Sunday night, and typically when the wrestlers were in town Sunday night, bars would stay open because they were between the wrestlers and the fans. They were going to do a lot of business.
Oh, yeah.
And this was one of those nights, and we were in the hotel lobby bar, and I was standing, it was shoulder-to-shoulder people. I was standing within 4 or 5 feet of Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan when the bartender called Hogan over for a phone call. And Hogan went and took the phone. Back in the day when the phone still had cords, he took the phone right and disappeared and was gone for about 20 minutes talking on the phone, and then came back out and hung the phone up. And as he walked towards Savage, this is 2-3 feet in front of me. As he's walking back towards Savage, he rolls his eyes and sort of chuckles and says, "Oh, the steroid freak's cracking again." And Jim, the road is a tough place. Most people back sooner or later. But I think Jim was more ill-equipped for the road than most.
Okay.
It didn't handle it well. And to me, the 2 guys on the plant at that time, and certainly in that company, that could have shown him how to do it, how to handle it, would have been Hogan and Savage. They were the biggest names in the company. And instead they chose to make fun of, and theirs may be from a completely different point of view. I have no idea. I'm just telling you what I had seen. And I thought to myself, geez, like, why don't I try to help the guy as opposed to, making fun of it or making light of it?
Yeah. It's kind of odd. That is kind of odd. Did it get any better? I mean, was there any kind of real sourness between Hogan and Warrior? I mean, do you think or do you know that Hogan did not want to drop the belt to him in WrestleMania 6, or was there any kind of repercussions that he had towards the Warrior or anything like that? Was there any tensions, or were they civil to each other? Were they friends? I mean, what was the situation there?
Yeah, I had never heard of any other than, like I said, just alluding to things or extrapolating from like the incident on the phone.
Right.
But one thing about Hogan, for better for worse, his career now has been long enough and deep enough that you can make those general extrapolations because he's done it time and time again. We know that Terry's one of those guys that doesn't like the favor, and that when he's in that position, and it's hard to argue with because he's been hugely successful. But it's just the point of the business. I don't come from that school of thought. I was broken in a very different way, I guess. That if it's time to pass the torch, it's time to pass the torch, and teach the guy how to carry the torch, not just jump over and sit back and wait for
You're breaking up just a little bit there, Shane. I don't know if you can move to a better area there. I heard you say something about passing the torch, and you kind of broke up a little bit after that. Can we try that again?
Yeah, I said that, those guys like Hogan and Savage had a dislike of doing the favor and passing the torch.
I see.
And at the same time teaching that person they passed the torch to how to carry the torch.
Yeah.
It's one that another to hold it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I think when people think about passing the torch, I really do believe that a lot of people will think about WrestleMania 3 with Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan. Now, Hogan had the belt for 3 years prior, but in terms of really giving a big rub, if Andre the Giant's going to put you over, oh man, that is a passing of some sort of torch, in my opinion, anyway. So.
Sure, because one thing for certain, if Boss is what everybody called Andre,
Boss, yeah.
If Boss didn't want to pass that torch, Boss wasn't going to have to pass that torch. I mean, so absolutely, I agree with you.
And I heard that there was even some doubt, even up until the day of WrestleMania, if he was going to do the job or not. Did you hear that as well, or did you know of that? I mean,
yeah. My understanding of the story had always been that he didn't really respect Hulk too much, and just again from different times and came into the business different ways, but. Ultimately, in the end, he did do it. So whatever the hearsay was beforehand, the epitaph did pass before.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, listen, I know you got a lot of things to do tonight, and I know we're kind of up against the clock here, and I know you need to get going and whatnot, but, we'll have you on another time here down the road here, maybe in the summertime, whatever. We can talk about your career and maybe some good stories. What I like to do with you is because you've been all over the wrestling world, and you've known and still know so many people in the business. One of these days, I want to do what I did with Stan Hansen a few months ago. I want to play 20 questions with you, and in this case, it would be 20 wrestlers or 20 personalities. It could be anybody. It could be male, it could be female, it could be owners, it could be promoters, it could be whatever. And I just want to do that because I think that'd be fun to do that, throw out 20 names to you and just get your honest reactions. And I may dig a little deep into your cerebellum there, into your brain, and pull out some cool stuff that maybe you don't remember too well.
Of what's left of it, right?
Yeah, there you go. Mine too, man. That's why I need the computer help here. You know what I'm saying? But now, listen, Shane. It's been an honor having you on the show, brother. It's good to have you on here. It's good to call you friend, and I appreciate that. Now, I'll throw the address at you here on a text here later on tonight, or probably tomorrow morning, or something like that. I really appreciate that. I look forward to it. And what I'll do is after I watch it, I'm going to give a really good interview here, like Macho Man would say, really good review, yeah. And we'll talk about it in depth here. And again, if you guys want to get the movie, it's wrestlersversuszombies.com, prowrestlersversuszombies.com, prowrestlersversuszombies.com. You can also go to the Facebook page of the same name, order it, check it out, and if you're still not sure, go on YouTube, check out all the vignettes and all the little clips about it. I guarantee you're going to want to watch this just by the people involved alone. So again, Shane, anything else you want to say to the fans out there before we let you go, my brother?
Yeah, you alluded to it earlier, when you said, that if nobody watches, and that's always been my firm belief. And I think most of the guys that are appreciative of their careers, the fans come up and say, "Hey, thank you so much for your career. I had so much fun watching your career, whatever." We always say back, "Thank you for watching," because if nobody watched, nobody cared.
Yeah,
nobody would ever Shane Douglas. So I think I've been blessed and being able to have a career what I consider to be the greatest business in the world. So thank you to everybody.
Right. And some of the promos you gave as a heel Shane Douglas back in ECW, I'm surprised anybody comes up to you at all and says we love you, because you were downright mean, man.
Hey, we had a lot of fun doing it. That's what the business is supposed to be and the way it's supposed to be run.
Absolutely, brother. You did it as well as anybody, and I'm glad you got that big break in ECW, and I'm glad that you were able to move on after that into WCW, and I know that you had a lot of fun talking to all the fans there at Mid-South, and it was cool seeing everybody coming up to you and, asking for autographs and taking pictures and whatnot, and that's a cool thing. So, again, thank you, Shane Douglas, the franchise here, and coming off the Top Rope Radio here at Brian Shank on KQCK.com. It's always an honor, and you take good care of yourself. Drive safely tonight, and sell some more of those videos, brother.
You do the same, my friend. I appreciate the time. We'll talk soon, Brian. Thank you.
You got it, Shane. Take good care, and say hi to everybody out there tonight that you're hanging out with. Tell them we all give them all our regards from off the Top Rope Radio.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay, Shane. Take care. There you go. Franchise Shane Douglas on Off the Top Rope Radio. It's an honor to talk to him. And if you guys want to see a cool movie, go check this out, because what I saw of it was really awesome. And I want you guys to get out there and check it out as well. So we're going to come right back with my buddy Frank Manzo of WrestleReaction.net. And don't go away.
Hi, Marie here for wannasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services for your next holiday party or get-together? wannasing.com can provide the best in sound, lighting, and a professional MC to host your next event. Whether it be a company party, birthday party, wedding, or any occasion, wannasing.com is ready to provide the fun and make it a night to remember for years to come. Call 480-664-8801. That's 480 880-664-8801. Mention this radio ad and receive a special discount for your next fun event. Wannasing.com. When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is dedicated to providing you and your family with services that will make you smile. With a full range of general, cosmetic, and specialty dentistry services that will keep you and your family smiling. Our commitment to our community is to provide outstanding oral health. Hill Family Dentistry is located on 36359 Ganzel Road in Santan Valley, diagonally across from Banner Ironwood Hospital. Evening and weekend appointments available. We accept most insurances and have in-office policies available for non-insured. Contact us today at 480-588-8127. Hill Family Dentistry. Hi, Marie here for Wannasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services for your next holiday party or get-together? Wannasing.com can provide the best in sound, lighting, and a professional MC to host your next event. Whether it be a company party, birthday party, wedding, or any occasion, Wannasing.com is ready to provide the fun and make it a night to remember for years to come. Call 480-664-8801. That's 480-664-8801. Mention this radio ad and receive a special discount for your next fun event. Wannasing.com.
Gonna get down tonight. Gonna get down tonight. I love that music. Well, not really, but I kind of like it. I have to be in the mood. Usually it involves about 8 beers and a dance floor and some half-naked ladies. But regardless, if you're out there and you want to get it, want to sing, 480-664-8801. Ask for Marie. She's the top. She's the top woman involved. So anyway, we're back here at Off the Top Rope Radio. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday, April 17th, the year 2014. I want to say happy birthday to my good buddy Marco out there. How you doing, Marco? I love you. He's my good Serbian buddy who I work with, and he's celebrating, I think, his 27th birthday. God, I wish I was 27 again, man. If I knew then what I didn't know now, or if I didn't know then, whatever. I just wish I was 27 again. But anyway, we're going to be bringing out my good buddy here, Frank Manzo from WrestleReaction.net. We're going to talk about all the latest stuff that's going on in the world today in professional wrestling. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on my friend, Mr. Frank Manzo. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Mr. Brian Shank, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
I'm good. Put me in a little tight spot, man. I got to follow the franchise Shane Douglas on the mic here. That's not easy to do in this business.
Well, it's really not easy to do because obviously, he's a legend in this business, in my opinion. Starting out in the UWF, like he mentioned, and WCW, the NWA for a while, the WWF, the WWE. I mean, he's been all over the place. ECW, of course, his big stomping ground out by you in the New York area, and it's just awesome to have him talk about his new movie. And we had a chance to hang with him, you and I, and Doug over at the Chalmette, Louisiana area there for the Mid-South Legends reunion. Had a great time, and it was good catching up with him. And it's good having you on the air, man. Dougie Fresh is out celebrating with his beautiful wife today. She's hitting her third anniversary of her 29th birthday, she told me, so God bless her for that one. And but let's kind of talk. First of all, you do run a very good site called WrestleReaction.net. WrestleReaction.net, just to make sure everybody understands that. And if you ever want to go out there and check out a very cool website, go look at it. You also do your own show and everything. All the information's on that webpage. WrestleReaction.net. So get all your news from there and WrestlingRumors.net as well, and that's all you need to know about the wrestling world and all the news and whatnot. So let's talk about this week. We're celebrating the whole week of The Ultimate Warrior, which we talked about in the interview with Shane there a little while, and as you can probably see on the TV screen if you're watching, The Ultimate Warrior wrestling buddy right behind me, they're paying homage to him for this whole week and this whole month on Off the Top Rope Radio. What did you think about Raw in general? I thought it was a little bit of a slower show than the one that was after WrestleMania 30, but then again, that's kind of hard to duplicate the next week. But a very nice and interesting dedication to the Ultimate Warrior and really putting a lot of focus on his wrestling career and some genuinely nice comments from the wrestlers and the boys in the back.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, to tell you the truth, and it's so unfortunate. And Brian, can you believe? I mean, we were just down in New Orleans. You got to work the red carpet that night, the Hall of Fame on Saturday night, the night that Jim was inducted into the Hall of Fame as the main person, the headliner of the Hall of Fame. I got to see him on the stage at WrestleMania come out for the Hall of Fame segment, get a huge applause from the Superdome fans. It's just unbelievable how this all happened, and it's so sad, but at the same time, I'm one of those people who feels actually somewhat good about it, because I'm so glad that he finally got to take his place in the Hall of Fame, to be one of those people who didn't get it after he passed, to be there to actually give the speech, to enjoy that moment in his life, which he very much deserved. He's a legend in professional wrestling. Even if he had time going in and out of the company and all the stories and the problems that there were, nobody can ever say that, WrestleMania 6, Hogan versus Warrior, and WrestleMania 7, Savage versus Warrior aren't two of the biggest moments in professional wrestling history. So you can never take that away from him. And I absolutely love that. It was just a sweet, poetic ending for him to go in like that, and then unfortunately leave us and pass on Tuesday. And it's like it almost doesn't sink in yet, Brian, because we just saw him. He was just right there. It's so shocking. And I'm so happy WWE's doing the right thing and doing these 4 nights on the network of Warrior Week and everything else. It's so great that they got him back in time for this to all be done properly. So many guys haven't gotten the proper send-off, and I'm really happy about it. But as far as Raw goes, you're right, it did, tune down a little bit from the week before, but hey, let me tell you something. For 2 weeks removed from a pay-per-view, those Raws are usually not that great. Usually the night after the pay-per-view, we get a pretty good show, and then the next week it's, in the usual monthly rotation. That's not typically a great Raw show. And I have to say, what stood out to me is the first round Intercontinental title tournament match that they had, which I thought was a great addition to Monday Night Raw. That really helped the show. I didn't think there was much of a dull moment on Monday. It moved rather smoothly.
It did move nicely, and I like the way that they did put the IC Championship tournament on there, because you saw Cesaro go over, you saw Bad News Barrett. I always want to say Bad News Brown when I start talking, because I'm old school, of course, but Bad News Barrett. We also saw Sheamus go over, and Rob Van Dam, who made his reemergence on Raw. And I like the way that they're building up the brackets now. You're going to have RVD take on Cesaro, which should be a really cool match. Maybe a little mix in styles, but regardless, it should be fun. I expect to see RVD. I expect to see RVD do a little swing in that night, if you know what I mean. And also, Bad News Barrett against Sheamus, 2 big, strong guys. And when we saw Bad News Barrett against Dolph Ziggler on Monday night, a little bit of a mismatch there in some of the styles, but Dolph Ziggler can put on a show like anybody else. So now we got the bottom 4 here in the semifinals. I gotta believe this is a way for Cesaro to capture the Intercontinental Championship, really make a big run, and I think somewhere down the road that this whole Paul Heyman guy situation, there's going to have to be some sort of tangling with Brock Lesnar down the road. That's just my opinion. That's my guess. That's my outlook, and I don't expect anything less than Cesaro taking the Intercontinental Championship and putting it around his chiseled waist.
Well, it sounds to me like you're very much up to date with your news. You must have been on WrestlingRumors.net all day, bro.
Always, brother, always.
You know it. I read some great reports there earlier, and obviously they get some information from Dave Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer, because that's a great source. But apparently Monday, before the tournament idea came to be, was actually supposed to be a 4-way for the Intercontinental title or for the #1 contendership.
I heard that.
And it was supposed to be Cesaro as the person who was going to go over and win that. So obviously I think you're right about this being about Cesaro, about this being a great way to build him. I do think it is. I have to say, and I know you'll probably agree because you're an old schooler, it's nice to see the Intercontinental title finally getting some stature in WWE, that they're using it the right way. They're going to put some spotlight on it, because we've gone weeks and months sometimes without these mid-card titles defended.
I know.
And I'm not happy with the way they're using the U.S. title on Ambrose. It's kind of just sitting there at the prop right now. I wish they'd do something with that.
I know.
But if this is going to prop Cesaro up, I'm all about it. Obviously, they didn't have music for Monday. He's going through some changes. It's definitely a unique pairing to have such a great heel manager of Paul Heyman, with all the heat that he has on him right now, being one of the guys responsible for ending the Undertaker streak just over a week ago. And now you pair him with somebody who obviously the fans are very much behind, and now apparently WWE's trying to create some some natural crowd reaction for Cesaro, much like the push that Daniel Bryan got. They want to get some people behind them with that. So I think we will see something similar to last summer, how we had the two Paul Heyman guys collide at SummerSlam, being Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, and what I thought to be, tell you the truth, the match of the year.
Very good match.
I think we're going to get another classic here when Cesaro finally goes up against the Beast Brock Lesnar. That should be a fantastic match,
without a doubt. And the thing is, too, is that it doesn't look like Brock Lesnar will be part of Extreme Rules, which I know some people are saying that's a mistake, but I like that they're not using Brock Lesnar every single pay-per-view, because I think that there's a time and a place for Brock Lesnar to emerge. Very similar to what The Undertaker has done in the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, there's a time and a place, and with him just now being the big man defeating The Undertaker, having him look more like a monster and saving him for maybe those bigger pay-per-views down the road, I like that idea, and I think that you will eventually see Cesaro become a main eventer here very, very soon. And if there was any indication with his match against John Cena earlier this year as match of the year candidate, like I told him in person on our interview, Cesaro is going to just keep rising to the top. And I also think somewhere down the road, people have been asking me this left and right, like, why did he join up with Paul Heyman? Well, I think it was a good idea to not totally turn Cesaro babyface right away after WrestleMania, have him come out like this full guy. There's some kind of ambiguity there, I guess is the word. I can't always say it. Ambiguity or ambiguousness, I guess is the word. Some confusion in regards maybe a tweener type of wrestler, where he's supposed to be and where his greatness lies in regards to him being this or that. And I think if it does get down to this and it does collide with Brock Lesnar or even anybody else for that matter, you will eventually see a big, huge face turn for Cesaro, and it'll be flat out one of the top 3 baby faces in the company. I mean, that's what I think they're going towards, and it makes sense if they take their time and do it right.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think he's going to be a great guy for them to push up. And it's so funny because we follow all the news and all the backstage stuff going on in wrestling. And so I think it was not even a year ago that there were reports that Vince just doesn't see it in Cesaro, and he doesn't being a top guy. And, you know, a lot of guys went to bat from backstage and said, hey, you know what? Give the guy a shot. You haven't seen him really work a good match with one of our main eventers yet. You haven't seen what he could do. I think it was the crappy Swift gimmick that he had. The music kind of killed him right from the moment he walked through the curtain. I was not a fan of that at all. I definitely knew he needed a little repackaging to get done before he was taken seriously. And it looks like they're on the road to doing that. And I do think he's going to be a big-time company guy. Out of all the guys who are up and coming right now, my belief is that Cesaro, Bray Wyatt, and Roman Reigns are going to be 3 huge superstars for the company that are going to help push the product forward in developing some new guys to go along with the established talent that they have. John Cena, Daniel Bryan, all these other guys that they have going. Sheamus is a great worker. He's going to do great work for the mid to top card for a while. He's a guy who gets severely underrated, and I love watching his matches every single week. I just think he's so good, and I hope that they keep utilizing him. I can't wait to see him and Cesaro have a 20-minute blowout match. I think that's going to be fantastic.
That's right, fella. And I like Sheamus too. I think he's got a great personality. He comes out, he's smiling all the time. It's kind of like that cocky baby face smile in a lot of ways. And I mean, the guy can go. He can work with anybody inside the ring, and I do enjoy watching his matches as well. And if you're just tuning in here to Off the Top Rope Radio on KQCK.com, we're speaking to Frank Manzo. Is it Manzo or Monzo? Because I know it can be pronounced both.
No, we could go with Manzo. It's been Americanized long enough now.
I like it. Frank Menzo from WrestleReaction.net. It's great to have you here in place of Dougie Fresh, and know he's out doing his own thing, and we respect that, and it's always good to have somebody else like that. But, and moving on, too, you mentioned another name there that was very interesting, Bray Wyatt, and the whole promo he did, it was really, really awesome because when John Cena came out, and, forget about all that little funny stuff they put up on the screen as so-and-so as a baby and this person's mother and all that. I mean, that was just a little comedic relief, and the people seem to really love it out there in Alabama, which is fine. I mean, you got to have some comedy, and I like it. And he said, why so serious? Why so serious? Let's have some fun. And he's right. John Cena was right. There's always that seriousness to just about everybody who's involved in the WWE right now, and I thought that was a cool thing they did. But then got right back on track and kind of made it look like there could be some real interesting stuff coming down the road between Bray Wyatt and John Cena because, just really quick, is it confirmed for Extreme Rules that they're going to go against each other again in a steel cage, right? That was the big announcement.
They are going against each other in a steel cage at Extreme Rules, absolutely. And I'm getting into Extreme Rules because we have a few things to talk about, but that's going to be a damn good match. I expect it to be an even better match than WrestleMania, and I do expect Bray Wyatt to win this match.
I hope so. It makes sense because obviously with John Cena winning on the big national level like that and going into a cage with Bray Wyatt, there's going to be some. And I hope, the other thing I hope too, Frank, is I hope it's not any kind of screw job or any kind of interference, whatever. I would like to see him just win this clean because that to me would really solidify him as a maniacal genius as he's portraying in his interviews and his promos. I like the fact that he can go in there and just wrestle. He's a great wrestler. He's a great talker. He's a great interviewer. He's a great promo guy. But to see him go out there and physically wrestle inside the ring, he's tremendous at his craft. And he should be one of the top guys. And I think maybe in the next year or so could be up there as well with Cesaro as being one of the big top baby faces in the ring. And this, like you said, this should be one hell of a match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think he should go over clean over John Cena. That would really make him. And the thing is with Bray is that he, like you said, you listed so many great things about him, Brian. He is a complete package. The guy can promo. He has a unique look. Yep. He has an individual brand to him.
Yes.
He's not a guy going out there with generic music with black tights looking like everybody else.
Right.
He is a wrestling character.
Yeah.
He is playing a character that could be on any TV show, that could possibly even win an Emmy on another TV show. He is that type of performer, and that's a great thing to have because it's something we've been missing the last couple of years.
It is.
Uniqueness is not very common these days in pro wrestling. Everybody seems to be going along with the same thing, but he's really sticking out, and I'm loving what he's doing. Speaking of Extreme Rules, I am psyched that our boys Evolution are back together, Brian, because I think these three belong together right now, and they are such top superstars, bigger than they ever were back in the day when they were together originally. And I'm so happy to see that these three heels, these three powerhouses, are going to be doing great work with the Shield at Extreme Rules because I fully expect that match to be fantastic.
Oh yeah, and moving down the road too into SummerSlam, which is quite a ways away yet. I mean, they're also building towards probably going to be having a top singles match between Roman Reigns and Triple H, which would obviously be the icing on the cake, so to speak. Because if you look what they've been doing, they're kind of doing the foreshadowing here. You saw him get speared last week on Raw, not just a few days ago, but last week, and they got the revenge this week, and he gave him the pedigree and left him laying. And they had the 11 guys come in, and I don't really count three-man band as three, so we'll just kind of say the 8 top guys. But no, I'm just kidding. But they came in, and it was good. You knew it was going to be a big schmaz at the end. You knew there was going to be a big beatdown, and eventually seeing Evolution come on down. Now, I'm only hoping for one thing, Frank, and you said it. It's good to see Evolution back doing their thing because that was a very exciting faction back in the day. But one person is missing. Woo! The Nature Boy! Got to bring him back, man. I would love to see Ric Flair be inserted somehow into that. There was talk about Ric Flair when he came back about maybe being the new GM and whatnot, but there's also talk now if Sting is going to move forward, but we'll get into that some other time. But you got to bring back Ric Flair. I think this would be ideal to see him just even outside the ring somewhere and just be a presence with the real Evolution forming.
Oh, and I agree, Brian, and I think it's going to happen because it's not like we're asking for anything so far off. He's not in TNA. He's doing things with WWE.
Yep.
He was just on that great Legends Roundtable WrestleMania weekend. He spent the whole weekend at Mania with everybody.
Yep.
I mean, even reports were about 2-3 weeks ago that he had actually signed some kind of deal to be doing more on-air time. Most of us assumed that would be probably with his daughter Charlotte down in NXT, who's doing great things also, by the way. But here is a golden opportunity to bring the Nature Boy back to Raw and SmackDown when you have Evolution on there. And he doesn't need to wrestle, and I don't think any of us want to see him wrestle.
No.
That's the point past that. But anytime you can give Rick a microphone for even 2 minutes, it's going to help the segment, no doubt about it. And to see the four of them together again, I mean, I actually, there's very little times where guys like us with all this experience really get to act like a fan and kind of jump out of our seats and say, wow, that's awesome. But when that Evolution music hit on Monday, that was a great moment, I think, for everybody. And I'm glad to see it happen. And like you said, Triple H versus Roman Reigns potentially one-on-one for the summer is the plan right now, and I'm all about that. Triple H has been my favorite guy for over 15 years. I think he proved what he's worth at WrestleMania. I think the Internet fans can stop getting on him about not putting anybody over because he gave the Internet exactly what they wanted at WrestleMania, and it was a fantastic show, up and down. But I'm really interested to see the rookie Roman Reigns get in there with him because I really do think that guy could be the next John Cena, the next guy to take the throne, the next guy to be the face of the company. I think he's got a lot of things going for him for that.
He's got a great look. He's tall, he's strong, he's big, he's got the hair going. I mean, there's a look to him, like you said, that's, not the very cookie-cutter type of thing. I think that he's got a lot of going for him. Plus, he's very good inside the ring. He can wrestle, and he can be matched against anybody. I mean, you can go against a Sheamus or a Bad News Barrett, or you can even wrestle someone like, Randy Orton and Dave Bautista. Maybe even he had to wrestle someone, smaller than him. He's really good at what he does. I do think somewhere down the road it's going to be evident that you will see the Shield eventually disband. How it's going to happen, we don't know. But for right now, the program that they're doing right now with 3 parts of Evolution, I do like it. And frankly, we got about 2 minutes left here in the show, so I just wanted to verify. If you guys want to go check out, there's a great show called WrestleReaction.net. It's on WrestleReaction.net. Go check out the website. See my buddy Frank, what he does. WrestlingRumors.net. All the great news. That's what it's all about, professional wrestling. And before we go, Frank, I'll let you have the mic for the next minute here and kind of tell everybody anything you want to tell them or carry on what we're talking about here or whatever you want to do. Go ahead.
No, thank you, Brian, and I'm very honored to be on with you tonight, and I hope you invite me back for some more, even when Doug is around. I don't want to steal his spot or anything, but hey, why not? Listen, guys, Special Reaction video show. Most people get a lot of audio podcasts out there. Yeah. We're very unique. We go live after Monday Night Raw. Every single Monday live on WrestleReaction.net, and of course after every single live WWE pay-per-view, or should I say special events as they're calling them now. And we are live always on WrestleReaction.net. You can just Reaction.net. You can check out all the archives on there. And also on Twitter. We're very big on Twitter. We have a lot of followers, and we love talking to our followers at Wrestle_React. And, we're the real deal. We love talking wrestling. We're here for you guys 24/7, and we do a great show. And, fan opinions what matter to us. We have a live chat room. We take questions. It's all about fan interaction. It's all about meeting great people. Brian, very happy to meet you down in New Orleans. That was a lot of fun. We got to do something soon, buddy.
Oh, without a doubt, man. I really enjoyed it, too. And I think that we'll definitely have you back on the show here somewhere down the road. And, we get a break here and there. We'll put you in and we'll talk too about all the things that are going on. And again, just check it out. WrestleReaction.net, WrestlingRumors.net. Frank Manzo, part of that event. We appreciate you tuning in and checking us out today. Take good care of yourself. Have a good week, and we'll talk soon, buddy. Keep in touch.
Take care, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. And say hi to Maria for us. All right, there you go. I think you hung up on us, but nice, lovely lady Maria out there, too. But listen, everybody, we do appreciate you tuning in, and we thank you for watching the show and listening to the show. We're on here every Thursday night. Join us next week here on the 24th. Like we said before, our guest next week, Barry Darsow, wrestled as Demolition Smash, Blacktop Bully, Chip Fairway. I remember that one at one time. Wow, that was a long time ago, Chip Fairway. And also, we're going to talk more about what's happening with Raw. We'll have some results of the Intercontinental Championship here, the tournament going on for the number 1 contender against Big E, and all the good things coming in. So if you ever want to send us an email, it's always the do. You can send it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter. It's Brian, BRIAN, at KQCK radio.com. If you're watching us here live on the TV screen, it's right up above there, right there where I'm pointing. And you can send us an email, any of your comments, any of your questions, anything you'd like to add to the show, suggestions, whatever you got. We would love to hear from you, and we thank you for your support. We thank my good buddy there, Mr. Frank Manzo from WrestleReaction.net. I want to thank my good buddy, the franchise, Shane Douglas, who's out there plugging away, promoting that movie and having a good time with all the fans out there. If you get a chance to watch it, go check it out, Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies.com. Everybody take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. We'll talk to you next week right here on KQCK.com, Off the Top Rope Radio. Have a good week. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic.
I hope you're not. Thank you once again, wrestling fans, for listening to today's show. We would love to hear from you away from the airwaves, so we invite you to like our Facebook page at Off the Top Rope Radio. And any emails you want to send, please send them directly to me at Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. We'll talk to you next week right here on KQCK Radio, USA, Costa Rica.